The way we do poet studies in our home is we simply follow the Heart of Dakota lesson plans. Each guide already has a poetry lesson included, and all the poems that you will need are in the back of the guide. With this particular guide, the poet is Emily Dickinson. Last year, we studied the poems by Robert Frost. And what we do is we use these books alongside our guide. So we just look and see what poem is scheduled for that week, and then we find that poem in these books. And that is not necessary. You don't need to do that. All the poems are already included here, but we like to use these simply because they come with beautiful illustrations of the poems, and that just makes it a lot more fun to look at least for us it does. I also like how sometimes at the bottom of the poem it'll tell you what some words mean, or in this one here it would tell you a little bit about the poem. For example, this poem about a young girl's garden is meant to be humorous, so Frost gives it a light and bouncing rhythm. So it does help us understand the poems. Sometimes some might be a little hard to understand, so that was very helpful. With the Heart of Dakota guides, in the early years, there is no poetry. They focus more on rhymes. After that, it is poetry by different poets. So you don't focus on just one poet. It's just different poets that you read about. And then after that, the guides start focusing on just one particular poet to study for the whole year. This one here, Resurrection to Reformation, is the first guide that does not have poetry lessons every day. So one day you'll do poetry, the next is art appreciation, then there's a devotional Bible study, and then it goes back to poetry. In the last guides that we've done before, poetry was scheduled every day of the week. So I first heard about these books, Poetry for Young People, from Becca's Homeschool Journal. She has this YouTube channel, and that's where I first saw these books, and I thought they looked great. So we went ahead and purchased. We have most of them. We are missing a few. These are the ones we do have. This is going to be our poet for this coming year. And the illustrations are done by different artists, so every book looks different. One of the ones that we don't have is Edgar Allan Poe, but we are not planning on buying that one. I am just not a fan of scary stories or scary poems, so we decided no for that one. But I believe there's a few other poets also available. The illustrations just make it a lot more fun for the kids and even myself. I believe he is the author of the Jungle Book story. So a couple other books that we have about poetry. This is one of them. This one does not focus on just one poet. It just has different collections of poetry by different poets. And here the illustrations in this book are by Arnold Lobel, which is the author of the Frog and Toad books for little kids. And this book is set up by different sections. So it has, in the beginning, it starts with all the poems about nature. So nature is, and then it has all nature poems, and then it goes into the seasons, and then you'll have those poems. Dogs and cats and bears and bats, the ways of living things. So it's easy to find a poem if you know what kind of a poem you're looking for, like a nature poem, then you just go to that section. Some of the pictures are black and white and some are in color. And the last book that we have is A Family of Poems, and it's by Carolyn Kennedy. Well, she just collected all her favorite poetry for children and she put it in this book. I love the cover. It is so cute. And this is very nice as well. Very good quality. This one is set up similar to the last book, where it has the different sections of poetry. These are all about me. That's so silly. Poems about animals, the seasons, and it also has some Bible verses included. Not much, but it does have some. Adventure, the seashore, bedtime poems. And again, the illustrations in this book are just beautiful. So these are the main ones we use along with our Heart of Dakota guides. But if you are looking for like a poem for your nature journal or anything like that, then these really come in handy, and you just go right to that section and you will find poems like that. I hope this was helpful to somebody looking into poetry books.